Yesterday I was speaking to you about the different responses of St. John the Baptist, the Zechariah, the father of St. John the Baptist, and Our Lady to the Archangel Gabriel. Today, the translation we're offered in English is, "How can this be?" It's somewhat of a problematic translation. Translations are always problematic because language is an art. The original in the Neo-Vulgate is fiat, quomodo fiat istud, which doesn't imply a conditional sense. Here in English, it can be either taken as conditional sense, how can this be? I think a better translation is, how will this be, right? It's a nuance there, but it's an important nuance to reflect the interior yes of our Blessed Mother. And the archangel said to her, "Nothing will be impossible for God." And that's quite a statement. Nothing will be impossible for God. The Cubs could win the World Series. Nothing will be impossible for God. You know, there were a couple of boys, they were on their knees in tears in their living room in Glenview during the Cubs World Series in 2016 when it was rain delayed in the ninth inning and they thought they were going to lose, and they were crying, and their mother said, "Kneel down, start praying the rosary." And they started praying the rosary, and the Cubs won, because nothing will be impossible with God. So that's quite a statement. Is it true? Yes. It's based on the very nature of God. God is all-powerful, omnipotente, and he is the uncreated creator, so God can do anything. In fact, he can do things we could not possibly do. In Green Bay, in our Chapel of the Nativity above the crucifix, this is a replica of that crucifix. This one is in bronze, that one is carved in wood, are those words, "Nothing will be impossible with God." And I've often pondered those words. It's kind of like a riddle. Nothing? In other words, you always get something with God. Yes, that's right. You always get something with God. Why are those words there? Those are the words of the Episcopal model of Bishop David Zubik, who was the Bishop of Green Bay at that time in 2007, when he gave us permission to have the Blessed Sacrament reserved in the chapel. Today, he is the Bishop of Pittsburgh. And yes, we have an FM station in Pittsburgh. And his only question to me last year when I saw him is, "Why don't you have a bigger station?" And so I was hoping you could ask your friends to give us $10 million so we could have a bigger station. One day we'll get there. But I'd like to ponder those words. No thing is impossible with God. And of course, when you're teaching sophomores in high school, they always look for the impossible question. Oh yeah, if nothing's impossible with God, can God make a square circle? Ha, got you. No, you didn't get me. A square circle is a no thing. That's a contradiction in terms. The problem is in your head, not in God's power. And that's right. No thing is impossible with God. So no, he doesn't do square circles. But anything else he can do. You always get something when you go to God. And we hear this every day on radio, people calling in with what they call praise reports for the Chapel of Divine Mercy. These prayers have been answered. Or during the Family Rosary Across America, we get these praise reports. Somebody has been cured miraculously of cancer. After a long time, people could buy a house, or they got a job, or whatever it might be. You know, some of those intentions at night are desperate. I think the first time I witnessed an answer to prayer on the Family Rosary Across America might have been 10 years ago, before we were doing the rosary every night. We would gather families in our studio in Park Ridge the 9 days before Christmas and have a family rosary novena. And one family was there, and I asked their boy, I think he was 7 years old at that time, "Thomas, what do you want for Christmas?" And his eyes got as big as silver. I said, "I want a remote-controlled helicopter." He knew exactly what he wanted. I said, "Okay, well, the whole country's going to pray for that." And the next day he got it and came over to my house, and he was there for hours with the helicopter in the living room, entertaining us. So nothing is impossible with God. You always get something with God. And these days, we're praying for an 8-year-old who called in the other night, and after he had his intentions for his grandma and his grandpa, we asked him, "What do you want for Christmas?" He said, "Well, I want laser tag." I said, "We're going to pray for that." Or that could be another answer of God to his prayers. And then there was an 11-year-old girl the other night. "What do you want for Christmas?" I want a purple bike and slime. Now, I don't know what slime is, but we're going to pray that she gets her slime and her purple bike. Is that a miracle? Well, it could be a miracle for the kids. It could be, who knows what it is. But it's okay to pray to God for whatever you want, whether it be a purple bike, laser tag, slime, a new house, an old house, a puppy, a cat, a job, whatever it is. And if we get it, thanks be to God. And if we don't get it, Thanks be to God.